You ever lose your power? Well, this is what people who are about to lose their power do. This is what the losers do. They get irritated. They go and call a 5-0 and bring them down there and say it's time to arrest somebody because they're stealing all of our power. And that's exactly what they did. They went to get the captain of the temple guard and had Peter and John arrested, incarcerated. They seized them. This was not just a shoo, get out of here. This was a total takeover. They took them and they captured them and they brought them into the temple, into the court. They laid hands on them by force. But because it was evening, they couldn't do anything, so they put them in jail. Now here's where the rules get kind of interesting. The same group of people, just a little while before this, same group of people arrested Jesus, what time of day? At night. They didn't wait until the next day. They had a trial at night. It was against the rules of the Sanhedrin, against the rules of the temple to try somebody at night for a religious crime. They broke those rules to try Jesus. They did it in the middle of the night. Remember that? The flogging begins at daybreak when after Peter disowns him early in the morning when the rooster crows. They weren't supposed to do that. You know why? Because when people are sleepy, they're not sober-minded. Can you imagine what it'd be like if somebody woke you up in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, and said, we need to have a trial, we need you to be a juror for so-and-so, it's a capital crime, and if they're found guilty, we're going to hang them at dawn? Can you imagine what the pressure on you would be like not to be in your best mind? I try not to make big decisions when I'm hungry or tired. I avoid a lot of big decisions that way. If you like Law and Order or any cop shows, especially if they deal with New York City, you'll notice that the police in New York, and I'm sure other big cities do this kind of thing, if they arrest somebody and the person's not particularly cooperative, or they have a high presumption of guilt, or the person is really arrogant and fights with the police and does all this sort of thing, they take them into custody, pronounce them under arrest, but there is another process that they have to go through called the arraignment. And so a lot of times what they will do is they will wait to book them in the station, log the arrest and fill out all the paperwork. They'll just wait. Because by law they have so many hours, like 12 hours or something. So if it's late in the afternoon, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll wait and they'll say, oh, we're so sorry, we didn't fill out the arrest reports in time. Therefore, you have to spend the night in Rikers Island until tomorrow when we can arraign you. That's what they did to Peter and John. They said, we're going to take them into custody late in the afternoon and they're going to get a free night on us in the penitentiary. Try to sober them up, scare them a little bit. Maybe they'll be a little more cooperative in the morning after they spent the night in jail and realize what kind of power we've got, what we can do to them. We'll just put them in jail with the other criminals for a night. This is what they do. Cops sometimes, is they put people in jail for a night just to sober them up a little bit. That's what happened to Peter and John. They went to jail for the night. But you might wonder what happened to the followers. If that Sunday that Dwight, we set up that skit, and they came in here and look, you want to arrest Dwight? Can you imagine what would have happened if they'd actually taken him into custody and taken 2 or 3 of us into custody and kept us for a couple of days? It'd have been pretty tough on some people. It'd have made the headlines of the newspaper. It'd have been on TV. People would have assumed guilty when they saw us all in orange suits standing before a judge. Can you imagine the negative publicity that would have caused by doing something like that? Well, that's exactly what the temple guards and the priests and the Sadducees were hoping would happen. But that's exactly the opposite of what happened, because we're told that while they were under arrest, the numbers of people actually increased. It's only been 2 chapters and 2 sermons since Pentecost. One of those was Pentecost sermon. At the end of Pentecost, it says that 3,000 were baptized on that day and added to their number. And now we're told that when they arrest them, the number has increased, the people who believe their message, to 5,000 men. All of chapter 3 occurs on the same day as chapter 4. So you're talking about in one day, they go from about 3,000 people, men, to about 5,000 men. Maybe as many as 10, 15, 20,000 total people if you count women and children. The Holy Spirit was busy. It didn't matter what the powers in the temple wanted to do. It didn't matter all of the negative PR or the police or all of the fear-mongering that they were probably doing. It didn't matter that they had a blacklist. The Holy Spirit was busy.